o'clock. It is Wednesday, September the 16th. Welcome to the Great O'Clock. What we're going to be talking about tonight is the 10 laws of an empire. And first, I guess it would be nice if you guys knew who the people were sitting in front of you. Do we have your permission to at least tell you who we are and why we're sitting here and what this conversation is all about? Okay, yes, I got one yes from Jonathan. We get one more yes, we can proceed. All right, cool. Gracie said yes as well. All right, Anthony, please introduce yourself to the people.
Yeah, Anthony Vaughn. I own a company titled Creation International. I just do a lot of behavioral change and culture development for network marketing teams, organizations, small, medium, and large. And then finally, I help startup companies develop their companies and, teach them about entrepreneurship and personal development. So that's a little bit about me.
Cool. All right. And I am Gerald Dubose. My company is the New Wealth Order. We work with people in two manners. On the personal side, we help individuals, step into their greatness, not to avoid average and not to meddle with mediocre. And then on the business side, we help entrepreneurs cultivate a winning culture and implement value-driven sales and marketing systems that increase profitability. So that is who we are, what we do. Now we're about to get into the conversation.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. So tonight, what we're talking about is the 10 laws of an empire. This is kind of like a book type of discussion that we're going to probably be coming soon to a bookstore near you. So, when we look at an empire and when you're building something that is very vast and very great and going to help a lot of people, I feel that there are certain rules that you need to adhere to and certain things that are very important in order for you to be able to proceed in that type of manner. Well, hello, Miss Rhea. Good evening. All right. We got all our people in here, man. This is going to be a great show.
There we go.
Here comes Bishop Fred in the house. If you guys want to, you can click over there and tell a little bird what's going on in here. And we are going to get this show moving and grooving. All right. So, the 10 laws of an empire. When the first thing I think of when you're thinking of building an empire, okay, you're grading papers and listening. That's what I'm talking about.
There we go.
The liberation sensation has graced us in the building. LS is in the building. Mr. Morgan J. Ingram. All right. So the 10 laws of building an empire. As I said, what's up? He said, stop. Oh man, I can't stop. I got to give love to my people, man. When you got your family and people that are doing great things, you have to acknowledge them. So, yes. And Rhea, howdy to you too. And, Jason is awesome. Mr. Perception Boss. He has a company called Perception Mastery. We'll talk about that in a second.
I like that name.
Yeah, exactly. The first law that we'd like to talk about when you're thinking of building your empire, if you are thinking of growing something very vast beyond just a singular type of business, the first thing I believe that everything should start with is a vision. Even in the good book, as we like to say in the Bible, they say, write the vision and make it plain. Mm-hmm. For without vision, the people will perish. So if you are creating something, it has to start with the vision. It has to be clear. It has to be concise and something for people to be able to follow. Anthony, what do you feel on that before we go any deeper into that?
Well, I definitely have to agree. You have to know exactly what you want, right? Your vision, like you said, has to be very clear, very concise. And no matter what, whoever the marketplace is, you have to be able to see it first, right? Because some people may call you crazy. Some people may call you insane. I mean, look at Steve Jobs, for instance. Some people thought he was, incredibly crazy for, his mindset and his vision of his company. But we all know that it was an amazing empire that he built with Apple. So, I think that's incredibly important to know exactly what you want, despite whoever else doesn't see that vision. And then finally, also being able to translate that position or that vision, rather, to your staff, to your partners, and to the people that you care about, because they need to be on board. They need to see exactly what you're seeing, right? Because you can never build an empire alone. So they have to be exactly clear about what it is you're doing, understanding the processes, understanding the strategies. And so, again, like I said, just jumping on what you said, I think the vision is incredibly important. You have to be very clear and concise with that vision. and really allow people to understand your vision that are, within your organization and your community.
Yes, absolutely. And Fred just contributed over there. That's why I love when Bishop Fred hits the building. Fred says, cast your vision in concrete, cast your mission in jello. Your mission will constantly change, but your vision should be fixed, both the moral and physical planes. And I absolutely agree with that. And that is why we talk about making the vision the most important, the very first step, I believe. And when you're trying to build your empire, the vision needs to be clear, because if it's not clear, how can people help you implement it? If you don't have clarity, you can't give someone else clarity. So it's very important that you know where you want your company to go, what direction you're trying to take your company in, and then you can guide the ship the way you need to and begin to develop the relationships that you need as well, which we'll get to in a moment. So vision is the very first step, we believe, in the 10 laws of building an empire. The next one, go ahead. What were you doing?
I'm sorry. And also, Gerald, making sure that every single decision is predicated on that vision and that bottom line goal. Like you were saying, once you have the vision, that bottom line goal is set of what you really want to accomplish. Making sure that every single decision that you make with the team and with yourself personally is predicated and congruent to that bottom line goal and that vision.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the second law, strategy. So once you have a vision, now you have to have a way to make that vision come to fruition. You have to be able to develop a plan of which you marching orders, so to say, of how you want to execute this vision this great vision that you have created. So the first law we have, of course, is vision. And then you have to have the strategy to bring that to the world, so that you can take it from an interior type of thought to an exterior product or service that is able to help people in the world. So, Anthony, go ahead about strategy. What are your feelings on strategy?
Yeah, obviously strategy is incredibly important, right? If you're not preparing, if you don't have the content, the roadmap, if you will, in your mind and your memory banks, you can never make a goal. So a lot of people try to start a company and make a goal to make $100 million, do $200 million. And they don't understand exactly in their mind what it is they're really trying to accomplish. They just know they want to make that $1 million. So having a strategy and having a plan and having that content in your memory banks is really important and concrete when trying to, like you said, build an empire.
Absolutely. And even more than just having it in your head, it needs to be written out, because that is the way that you are able to show the people where you need them and what you need them to do, as well as just having a plan for yourself so that you can execute and do what you need to do. We have Ava Laura in the building. Oh my goodness, all my people's up in here. We're going to bring some people up in a minute. We're just going to go through real quick what we feel the 10 laws of building an empire are, and then we will start a conversation, because everybody may not agree about the same 10 laws. The 10 laws that we have may be something different for somebody else. However, there are certain things that are imperative in developing any type of business. And if you're trying to build an empire, that means a business that is very expansive. So there are certain things that do need to apply to each and every one of those things. The third thing, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Jay. I'll keep doing that to you. No, I just wanted to touch on what you said again, because that was my fault for not, making that very clear. You need to write it down. You need to have a very concise business plan. I know a lot of the younger generation are jumping into the world of being an entrepreneur, right? And they don't really have a concise, clear action plan written down, not only for themselves, but for their staff and for their partners. So I just wanted to touch on that and apologize for not making that very clear.
Okay. Awesome.
For sure, man.
All right. We have somebody else that just came in. Good evening. It's Miss Ariel. Hello, Ariel. How are you this evening? All right.
How are you?
Welcome to Great O'Clock with us. The third thing that we want to talk about would be the third law would be focus. You have to focus your energies in order to be able to bring those things to fruition. So once you have the strategy, yes, strategy is vital. Fred says strategy is vital, but it's only as effective as the leadership that communicates and enables it. Strategy without leadership is a broken pencil. Pointless. That is why we love the bishop in the house. So that is so true, Fred. Absolutely. So
yes, sir.
Hey, we got Sean Michael in the building. Spidey Sean is here with us as well. If you guys want to, you can tell a little bird and just keep this conversation going. We're going to try to go through these things really quickly so we can engage in the conversation. The focus is the next thing that we would like to talk about, obviously, if you aren't focused on what you are trying to do, if you're just scattering your energy, you will not be productive whatsoever. So being able to focus and hone in on exactly what it is you are trying to produce and what that vision is, and implementing that strategy will help move that empire forward. So Anthony, your feelings on that type of topic.
Yeah, I always tell my clients and I tell myself to focus on my values, right? What's my value system when I'm designing this company, and making sure that all my day-to-day actions are predicated and focused on my biggest tasks, right? And my value system. And if it's not, then I either delegate them or I won't do that. And I think a lot of people, like you said, are getting distracted in this world of being an entrepreneur, and they're not focusing on the important tasks and what they really need to do to scale their business and to grow their business. So focus is 100% key.
All right, awesome. Yes, so focus is very vital in being able to keep everything on track. So the next thing would be conviction. Some people call it passion, some people call it resolve. Whichever word you choose, your heart has to be into exactly what you're doing. So if your heart isn't in it, then nobody else heart will be in it, because you are the one with the vision. You are the one that is trying to build this empire. You are the one creating the leadership, as Fred was talking about, for this group of people. And Mr. Adam Tech in the building, wonderful guy. So conviction, Anthony, talk to us a little bit about conviction.
Yeah, conviction. You have to simply, have conviction and passion, and then have courage to just keep moving forward with your plan, right? Because not everything on your business plan is exactly going to go the way that you would like it to go. But having conviction, being able to stick it out, move forward, and just keep implementing your strategy and keep having faith within your team and yourself, and to move forward. So I think conviction is 100% key.
Awesome. Okay, so we've been through 4 points for everybody just coming in the room. We have Tweeting Goddess Sam. Hey, Sam. All right, we got our family here. But we've been through 4 points. We'll just touch back on them, and then we'll go to the fifth one. Vision was the first law. Strategy, then focus, then conviction. Focus, and Fred says over here, focus is akin to the first principle of war and business: selection and maintenance of the aim. That man is just full of wisdom over there. I can't wait to get him up here. I know he has some stuff to add to this conversation, as well as plenty of other people that are here in this room. The fifth law would be, you need trusted advisors.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have people that help you implement the vision, and there are people that can help guide you. One quote that I firmly believe in: if you're the smartest guy in the room, you need to find another room.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
People that are really successful are smart enough to hire people that are smarter than them and that can do tasks that they are not very good at.
Yeah.
So your trusted advisors, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, trusted advisors is 100% key. I'm always about bringing on people that are experts in that field, and allowing them to give you advice and contribute to you as much as possible to make sure that you're putting maximum value and maximum productivity to the marketplace. You don't know everything. The second that you feel like you do know everything, the second that you will not build an empire. So again, having trusted advisors and having people that are, better than you in that space, honestly, is incredibly important in my opinion.
Absolutely. So now we've been through the 5. Now we're going to the last 5. The sixth law that we talk about is you have to be willing to take risk and be bold in decisions. That is vitally important. You have to be willing to go where no one else has gone if you are trying to build an empire. You have to believe what no one else believes if you are working on building an empire. It's no other way to look at it. There's no other way for it to come to fruition without you being willing to take the risk and take those steps that others would not take. So, Anthony, go ahead, your piece.
Yeah, I'm always about making sure that your risk or your decisions are pushing you towards the bottom line goal. Analyzing that risk, right? Making sure that risk is right for you, right for your team, right for your staff. Making sure everyone within your company is on board with taking that risk. And if so, move forward and really analyze the risk and test it. Figure out if your current skill sets right now are allowing you to move forward, or if you have to change things up. And I'm a big risk taker. I think anybody that's had a successful business has taken a plethora of risks. So I'm all about risk, and that's very important when building an empire.
Okay, cool. That is awesome. About risk. Allman's Axiom 198. I love Bishop
This
Fred.
guy is like, what?
He said, in business as in battle, the deadliest prejudice is thinking that your opposition are dummies. That is very true. I told you this man is a wealth of
Well,
knowledge over there. I cannot wait to get him up here. I know he's going to come up and talk with us. The seventh law, we would say, is belief. You have to believe it. I call it the ABCs of life: achieve, believe, conceive. But you have to do it in reverse order. You first have to conceive it, then you have to believe it, and that's the only way that you will ever achieve it. So, Anthony, what's your feelings on that?
yeah, you have to believe. For me, you have to believe no matter what, whether if there was financial gains or not, that you would.
Okay, I think we may have a little sound problem over there, but I'm quite sure he'll be
This, right?
right back with
For me,
us. Anthony, you froze up for a second, brother.
you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you. Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was just saying that belief is key. You have to believe 100% that you would conduct business no matter what, right? You have to be able to convey to your staff, convey to your partners the same belief that you have about the product, and just try to push as much value out to the market. So belief is 100% key.
Absolutely. So now we are on number 8. Now we are thinking, after you get through the belief segment, obviously we talk about the law of environment, which a lot of people talk about now. You need to be in an environment that is conducive for you to be able to move forward and build the kind of business that you want to have. Your space and your place really can cause you a lot of chaos if you look at it. And that's why a lot of people aren't successful. They don't set themselves up for success. They work in an environment that kind of holds them down. So Anthony is back. So Anthony, what's your feeling about the law of environment? And I know Perception Boss, Morgan, and Fred are going to have a lot to say as soon as we get through this list, because law of environment, Morgan loves that law.
Yeah, just my quick, take on environment is just making sure that your environment, for me, is conducive to your value system. Again, making sure all your decisions are predicated on that value system. Make sure everyone around you is pushing you and allowing you to be creative. You're pushing them and making sure they're creative. So for me, it's just building an environment that is always to that, and then also asking questions. Again, you should never have a knowing mindset. So having an environment that's always allowing you to ask questions to move forward, for me, is very important.
Yeah, and like Perception Boss said, you have two environments to think about.
Yeah.
You have your mental environment, and then you have your physical environment. And all of that actually affects what happens in your life and how productive and successful you are when you are reaching for or going to the goals that are in that you are trying to attain. Keep your mind as clean as your office. Absolutely. We have socially Nina. Hey, Nina, how are you? All right. And we're just going through the 10 laws of an empire. And we're going to get through this. We're on number 9 now. The 9th law would be creativity. Again, when you're building an empire, it's about thinking and going and expanding further than anyone else has in any certain arena, whatever that arena is. And you have to creatively approach that. And you have to carve your own unique position in what you're doing. So, Anthony, real quick, talk on that. And
I think with the change of social media, right, I think a lot of people didn't want to jump into this new world. They didn't want to be creative. They didn't want to change. And I think great creativity, again, I'll use the Steve Jobs example. He was always creative, always innovating, new concepts and new ways to move forward in the tech world. So creativity is 100% key when building an empire. Now, you can build a business without creativity because you can have your little niche and your little space of people that you work with. But if you want to build an empire and be incredibly successful, you have to have creativity. You have to innovate.
Absolutely. And Nina's talking about it right here. He wasn't swayed by others' opinions of his vision. And we talked about that. We're going to go back through all 10 laws, Nina. And then we're going to have people come up so that we can really engage in conversation. That is so true. No, it's okay. You're not late. We're still going. So you're not late. We're all here. And the final law, obviously, is awareness of oneself, because that's how you're able to stay true to your vision. That's how you're able to stay true to what it is that you want to implement and add your value, your unique piece to the world. Your self-awareness. You constantly have to be developing and growing if you are growing a business. So that is vital to success in anything. And if you're trying to grow an empire and you think you're going to grow an empire and not grow yourself from where you are, you might as well stop right now. So,
Jared, I'm huge on self-awareness. You have to be completely self-aware of your strengths, your weaknesses. Are you personally developing yourself? Are you doing the things necessary to grow yourself? Because as you know, your business cannot grow without yourself growing. Your business will only grow as much as you will grow. So self-awareness is 100% key in allowing yourself to be completely aware of the people in your organization, and if they're really a good fit for where you're trying to go, is 100% key as well. So self-awareness is huge.
Okay, so those are the 10 laws that we feel that have come to us and I implement in my businesses, and I feel are very, 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 very vital to building an empire. We will go back through them, and then let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. I know you guys you guys in here have something to add. You may have your own different law that you feel may need to be in there that maybe isn't part of that list. But the 10 laws that we are applying are: 1, vision. Create your vision, write the vision, make it plain. Number 2, we're talking about strategy. Number 3, we're talking about focus. The 4th law would be conviction. The 5th law would be trusted advisors. The 6th law, you need to be willing to take a risk and be bold in taking your risk. The 7th law would be belief. You have to believe it in order for it to come to fruition. The 8th law, environment, mental and physical. People always forget about the mental one, so I'm glad that Jason brought that up. The 9th law would be creativity. And the 10th and final law, of course, is self-awareness and development. So we're going to write that in the chat so that it's here for anybody that missed that as this conversation moves forward, because Blab moves very quickly. So we're going to list all 10 laws over here in the chat. And as you guys want to come up, you can, and we're going to engage in conversation. And we have the lovely Miss Nina in the building. And I know she has something to add. And go ahead, Miss Nina, take it away.
Me?
Yes, we hear you.
I have this new mic. I'm trying to figure it out. I know I always join your blabs and I never actually jump in. So I want to jump in real quick. But the first thing you said, vision, I'm so glad you said that, because I was just speaking to a possible client last night, and I had to explain to them that everyone wants to jump into social media and marketing and how do I get on social media? And I was trying to explain to them there's 4 classes before we even talk about your business. And the first one is understanding what your legacy is going to be, not just your physical items, but what do you want to leave behind? What do you want to be known for? And then create a vision for that. So I'm so glad that you guys brought that up, because people forget that in order to reach goals, you need to have a clear, what is the top, how do you know if you made it? So how do you know if you have an empire if you don't have a vision of it? So I'm glad that you guys threw that in there. Great job, guys.
Thank you. I mean, that's why we said that's like the first thing. If you don't have a vision, you can't build anything, honestly. Because if you're trying to go somewhere and you have no destination, guess where you're going to end up? Nowhere.
And how do you even know how to get there? Everybody talks about this journey of entrepreneurship. Where is your journey leading if you don't even, how do you know if you get, that's what I always say, how do you know if you get there if you don't know where there is?
Exactly.
So.
Because you have no roadmap. You won't get on the road and say, hey, I just want to go somewhere, and you start driving, and then somebody say, well, we're in New York. I wanted to go to California. Well, you didn't say that.
Mm-hmm. And you got this mentor. You don't even know where you're going, but you want somebody to mentor you to get there.
Yeah, there you go. That's so true. And I'm typing up these laws just so it can be in the comments here. If anybody else wants to jump up and join the conversation. Law 2 was strategy. I'd like to get your opinion of the 10 laws, Nina, just to see how you feel about it. My man Jason's coming up. I know he's got a lot of stuff to add here. This is right up his alley too.
Hey, grade o'clock. But what is that? Is that what people call you, grade o'clock?
No, that's actually the little show name. So he just branding the show type of thing. Grade o'clock.
You guys are so branding. Love it. Sorry. What was number 2? I got distracted by Jason.
Law 2, I'm putting in now, is strategy.
Strategy. Okay. These are my thoughts on strategy. People jump to strategy without knowing this. Again, they're jumping the thing, jumping steps. So again, they make a strategy. I'm a social media manager, so I always apply everything to that. but they make a strategy for social media. They make a strategy for advertising, but you need to know, and this is all of my teachings lead back to this, who are you strategizing for? What's your goal? So your vision, and then who is that for? So who's your ideal client? Who are you talking to? What is the niche? All of that. So if you're building an empire, what is that going to be based on? What are you going to be known for? You can't speak to everyone. You can't be an expert in everything. So you have to actually decide before you even come up with the strategy, who is your message for? Who are your products for? Who are your services for? And gear into those people before you even start talking about a strategy. So that's
absolutely. I would tag team with you on that and say they forget that is part of the strategy. That is the first part of your strategy.
I agree.
You don't have a sales strategy or a marketing strategy until you identify who your client is.
Right.
So they want to skip that like that's not part of it. So absolutely.
I got 2 points here on strategy. One thing about strategy is to make sure that it's like sustainable. So a lot of times people think a big vision, but the strategy to get there is something that they're going to run out of resources within the first 6 months. So make sure that your strategy is sustainable, because usually when people pick a legacy or a big vision, it's going to be something that's going to be big and overwhelming for someone to try to do. And then my second point on that is going to be then to make sure that even though once you figure out your strategy, to make sure that it's in bite-sized chunks so that you can, you don't feel overwhelmed. You can go at it bite by bite.
That's true. People try to eat the whole elephant in one bite, and you're going to break your jaw. Trust me, you can't fit the elephant in your mouth. It's not going to work.
Well, and then one thing about that too is people forget how much skills that you need to actually manage tasks and writing them down, and how important that is. And you have your vision, then you have like your 3 major goals. Then under those 3 major goals, you have 3 more. It's steps to it, and people, like you said, you run out of resources because you just think of the big picture. You're not thinking of everything that goes into that.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Anthony, you have something you wanted to say? You look like you were about to say something.
No, I'm good. Yeah, I was just agreeing with her. I think she hit it right on the money as well as.
All right. The third law that we went through, Nina, was focus. The law of focus. You have to have focus. I mean, I think that one's pretty self-explanatory, but I'd love your take on that.
I probably can't give you a take on that because I try to multitask. That is not productive, and I procrastinate sometimes, but I get it done. So yeah, you need to focus. No, but when it comes to goals, of course, you need to focus. And I think a lot of that has to do with who you have around you. One thing that changed my life and it made me change my behavior on January 1st was I heard the quote about, you are the average of the 5 people around you.
Yes.
And so if you have friends that when you're saying I have to work on this, they're saying, come on, just one drink is not going to hurt you, versus the other ones that are like, you could pay for this and have a VA do it, or, you could stretch. So having people around you help you focus. I've had, kind of kickbacks where we're all working, and that was new for me, but I'm around different people now. Wonderful.
Okay, Jason, yeah. I know you. Wait, Fred, see, I can't wait till my man goes back inside. He's outside right now, but he says strategies are effects-based. Business plans are objective or goal-based. Don't confuse the two. And a lot of times people do flip-flop that, not understanding that your business plan is not your strategy.
Right.
Your business plan is an objective, where your strategies are to accomplish certain tasks in a certain amount of time. It's more task-oriented versus goal-oriented.
I'm trying to paste that right now into a little notes document going on. So.
Jason said
I'm checking out for a moment. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem.
Well, no, focus. I'll talk on focus though, because focus is key. The difference between, and I do a whole 3-day training on focus on Genius. Genius is all a function of your focus. So when you can focus on one thing at a time, when you don't, you get the kind of results that you're talking about. What's your name? Socially Ninja?
Nina. Everybody says, I don't know why there's no J. Everybody says Ninja.
No, I don't call you Ninja. I knew it was Nina. Look at it. And she has that Colgate smile. It's like
that's all right.
That's like the Jedi mind trick. You can't even.
I don't see any pink ninjas. Do you see pink ninjas? I'm sorry. Focus. We're supposed to be focusing right now.
Yeah, focus right now. Focus, Jason.
So yeah, so focus, focus is crucial to being able to use your own energy well, your mind, body system, your energy. Like Nina was saying, things that you don't want to be focusing on. Yeah, it's good to get someone to outsource that to or take the task on. But the things that you're doing, get in there, focus fully on it. And when you're done with it, then get out and focus fully on something else and take a break.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And just to jump on what you were saying, Jason, making sure, like you said, focusing on the biggest tasks, right? A lot of people focus on very small tasks that really are not pushing them towards the bottom line goal. And that's something that I teach with my clients. You're doing a lot of these unnecessary activities that have nothing. You're just completely wasting energy, like literally. And that's just not productive.
Ooh, look, the 4 quadrants of tasks. You guys know about the 4 quadrants, right?
Yeah. Go ahead and drop it, Nina. Go ahead.
Because we're in the 4 quadrants, and I'm teaching this, so I should be able to remember. But I have a course on this. But anyways, you have 4 quadrants, and there's that one quadrant. We're going to say that's Gerald right now, right? Where you're rushing to do things. Emergencies come up. The house is on fire. All of your fires that you're putting out, right? A lot of us live in there because we're procrastinating. The second quadrant, we're going to say grade o'clock. That's where you really want to live, where you've planned things out, where you have backup plans, you have time, you've put them on your schedule. And then there's the other ones, this will be me, the fun square, where there's things that you kind of need to do. You need to relax. You need to, take the kids to school. There are other things that you need to do that may not be planned, but they're not necessarily important or urgent, but you need them in your life. Then Jason, sorry about it, but Jason are those things that, are taking up your time that cause you to be in quadrant 1, because you're, instead of doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're talking on the phone. You're checking your Facebook, not for work, but you're, looking at articles, you're watching videos of little cats running, and instead of living in grade o'clock. So those are the 4 quadrants. And the whole point is for you to be able to plan things. So you spend most of your time in either grade o'clock, and then you have time for socially Nina. So that's the whole thing.
Awesome.
And that goes along with environment design, right? Mentally and physically, right? That's something I really touch on a lot with my clients is you have to build an environment that's conducive to your goal. Yes. And just getting all distractions out of the way the best that you can. Whether it's people, whether it's organizing the way that you're going to do your notes, whatever it's going to be, making sure that you have a complete environment.
Planning. Even your fun. Your fun has to revolve around, I'm going to go for 2 hours. If you have the right people around you, they're going to be like, girl, I thought you were supposed to leave. Don't you have, a blab tonight? Oh yeah. Okay. Bye you guys. It doesn't mean you can't do those things, but you have to plan for them. You have to have the right, like you said, environment around.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Nina is giving it to him. I love it. And it's important. Now, all I want to know is why can't I be the fun square? Why I have to get?
Well, that's the way it.
I'm just teasing.
I'm gonna show you I'm gonna send you my spreadsheet. I mean my little diagram, and this is exactly how it is. So sorry. Jason got to tell, I'm
watching cat videos, so
yeah, we're watching cat videos and on Facebook, so you shouldn't even.
Hey, but the thing was, she hit you and it sent it back to me. That's the bad
part.
Well,
I mean, you're the cause that everybody's spending so much time with you. Me and grade o'clock are perfect though.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. What we're talking about for everybody that just joined, absolutely, we're talking about the 10 laws of building an empire. Wait a minute. We have Fred over here.
Let me know if you need me to jump out for Fred or anything.
Oh no. You're good. We have the Jackie Bernardi that just hit the building. We have some powerful people in here. Yeah, we have some great insight. Lydia Madison is in the building. Oh yeah. Krista's here. We have a lot of people. I know Morgan has some stuff to say.
Yeah, feel free to keep me out at any time.
I'm just going through the laws for the people that missed it, and then we'll start taking people as they feel. Oh man, Jackie is in the house. Yes, Jackie Bernardi. Absolutely. So the 10 laws we went through, we're going to go through it again for everybody that just got in here. The 10 laws were 1, vision, 2, strategy, 3, focus, 4, conviction, 5, trusted advisors, 6, risk and taking a bold risk, 7 was belief, 8 was environment, 9 was creativity, and the 10th was self-awareness and growth. So those are the 10 we're touching on right now. We were halfway through it, going back through the list just with Miss Socially Nina, because we have the honor of having her in the building right now, and getting her input, as well as Mr. Jason, the perception master himself. So conviction. What do you guys feel about conviction? I mean, or after this, I'll actually even open it up a little further. But what do you guys feel about the importance of conviction in business?
Jason, you look like you have it at the tip of your tongue. I'm gonna let you go first.
No, I'm just thinking like Wall Street, you know, like going to prison conviction. I'm just trying to
focus. We talked about we're focused.
Really, Jason?
Videos.
What do you think about conviction in business? I lost 3 business partners to that. It's not good.
I have an answer because I'm focused.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
man.
Okay. So this is I think of conviction, and I wasn't here when you first brought it up, but it's not always external to actually the goals and all of that. Sometimes it's to yourself. I know going through this journey of entrepreneurship, you have your highs and your lows, and sometimes you get to that point of, why am I doing this? Why did I spend $3,000 on that class? Why did I travel to the city? You know, why didn't that client purchase whatever they were supposed to purchase? And I think sometimes conviction is sometimes in yourself, and knowing your abilities, believing in what you can do, and knowing that you can provide the value that you're asking money for. And I know that's something that sways a lot, because you're like, you lower your prices, or you instantly say, okay, well, here's a discount, but you have to know that, you're giving value, and it's, kind of your duty to actually provide that value for those who need it. So that's the way I think of it.
Absolutely. Wow. See, Nina's just so powerful. I love it. And we got my man Lorenzo over here. He just added to the conversation. He says conviction is one of the greatest dictators of direction, and most times your vision will convict you.
Nice.
See, now, I find that to be true a lot. Absolutely. Well, I would say that your vision, if it doesn't convict you, you have the wrong vision. So I would say that, to even add to that. Yeah. Anthony, you have anything you want to add before we go to the next one, and then we'll ask some questions?
Well, go ahead, Jason. I have something to say.
I'll say that the one quote that I really like here is, if you have a big enough why, you can overcome anyhow. And so,
yes.
If you get a really powerful vision that you're convicted to, that you can overcome, like Nina said, any kind of hard set, because there's going to be things that come up. There's going to be things that throw you off your game, that throw you off course, that try to pull you in other directions. And so if you have a big enough why, and you're really focused to it, and you're really committed to your outcome, to your vision, then there's nothing that can stop you.
Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, Anthony.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of tagging along what Nina was talking about. I think a lot of people, when they have clients, they're kind of focusing their attention on their value as far as how much money they're getting, and not necessarily the value that they're putting out. I know me personally in my business, when things kind of went down with my clients, I started looking at myself as, am I pushing maximum value? Am I really as competent as I think? And I had to go back to the drawing board and really look at my business plan, really look at why I'm doing this, and say, you know what? I have it. I understand what I'm here for. It's just not my time. And I move forward, and I pick myself back up. So like you said, understanding your why and making sure that you're not tying your self-worth with your network.
Right.
Absolutely.
And it's hard when you're starting out, too, because you're like, okay, I have only 3 people signed up for that. I thought it was bomb. And, they don't know what's behind that door. So it might be in your message. It might be, someone else had something else going on. You don't know. And it's hard not to tie yourself to those emotional feelings in this, when we're going through this.
You have to analyze.
And I would add that that's the thing. When you go and you decide that you are really building your vision, or as people like to call it, your purpose, you're living your purpose and things of that nature, you have to leave your ego at the door.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the things that you're going to have to go through are going to have to be so separate from how you feel about yourself, and be more about the people that you're trying to serve and trying to help, that your ego only clouds it. It only clouds it. So it's very important to leave your ego at the door when you decide to start creating this vision and start living that type of purpose. So it's just that simple. Now I'm going to ask a question as opposed to just go on to the next one. Ask you guys, and just want to see what you all opinion is. Is there something missing from this list that you guys would add as maybe your top 10 thing that's not on those 10 things? Or is it an 11th thing? I mean, of course there's more, but we just addressed 10.
I'm trying to look for it now. Where's the list? Because I know you pasted it in there.
Yeah,
one that comes to mind that ties along with conviction, which is resilience, and that's just when the tough stuff comes and gets in your way, when the hard times fall, when your environment isn't set up the way you want it to be, just to be able to get back on your feet and to keep on pushing no matter what. Because some people, they have one little hardship and they give up, they jump ship right away, and there's other people who they go through some really tough stuff and they keep on pushing and persisting and they make it happen no matter what.
Right. So, and I think that's where the trusted advisors come in too, is when you fall down. And it's hard everyone's looking for life coaches and mentors and coaches, and the first person who has a $9.99 deal, that's who they're jumping on. But they're like your best friend. When you're crying because of your business, you got to go to them. So having an actual trusted advisor is different than just, there was a sale and I picked someone.
Absolutely. And that's why I feel that is maybe the most overlooked law of building empires. You have to think about it. The Roman Empire, any empire that you've seen, Steve Jobs had great advisors. The President of the United States has advisors. The Pope has advisors. These people that are running large things that are just so outside of one person being able to handle it, you have to have those advisors. You have to have those people that support you and give you a different look, because we don't have all the answers, no matter how great we think we are. None of us have all the answers. So that input is vital to being able to achieve that type of success.
And I think also with those advisors, I think a lot of people in business look at them as transactions, right? And for me, what I teach is really building a genuine, intimate relationship with that person. Making sure that it's a true, love. I'm not saying you have to date the person, but a true connection with that person. Because you'll have, sustainability and success in your organization if you honestly care about that person, if that person can trust you. And so I think that's really important as well.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you do discovery calls, it's not to find the price or how much you have to charge them. It's to see if we're compatible. And, and I think people forget too, as life coaches, as mentors, as business, I'm not a life coach, FYI, business coaches, we are interviewing people as well, because if I have to talk to you, because when people miss my appointments, or if I see them online doing something we're not supposed to, I'm in their inbox like, what's up, girl? What are you doing? I'm not going to be like, hi, Mrs. Teresa, I'd like to no, we have to be real with each other. And in my contract, you have to sign a contract telling me you're going to be honest with me, that you're going to be open. And if something comes up, it's not such a, give me $50. Okay, you have 30 minutes. You also need to be able to inbox me and email me. And it's a connection. You're my best friend until, we move on to other things.
And before Jason jumps in, I know he's got something to add. I'll just say I have a performance clause I put in my contracts now, especially in anything I'm doing with business coaching and things of that nature, because you are a direct reflection of my brand right now.
Right.
So if we agree that you're going to do certain tasks and you don't do those tasks, then you go and tell someone that, hey, this guy didn't do anything for me, when it was really you not doing what you said you would do. So if we have an agreement, and in the contract it states this, there will be fines. You get fined twice. The third time you're gone. I have a right to fire you as a client. I do not need people that do not want to grow forward. So that is very, very, very important. And I got that from one of my advisors. Right. They were like, if you want to save your brand, protect your brand. So that's very, very, very vital.
I have a very similar strategy. So I make an agreement in my contract. First time I meet with a client, I explain to them, you don't do what we agree that you're going to do in the first session, that automatically becomes the topic of our second session. So if you don't do it, you just lost a session out on what you wanted to do, and we're going to talk about why you didn't do what you said you would do. Second time, same deal. Third time, you're out. So same
thing. Yeah, 3 times. That's it. I hit them in the pockets. I got that. I said, someone told me that. They were like, make them pay extra. They don't do what they say they're going to do. Make them pay. Make it hurt. Because they understand that.
Sometimes I'll have them actually make a check to one of their charity of choice.
That's a great idea, actually.
Or sometimes even their opposite charity of choice, like their least desirable charity.
Evan over here says, in this time in our lives, we must have mentors. Without them, we have a built future. So that's very true.
I added a number 11.
Okay, what's your number 11? That's good. That's what I'm talking about.
Because people, and I always say people need to jump on the first freebie, which of course we want freebies, know, like, trust, all of that kind of stuff. Whether it's your website, your ads, your mentors, whatever, and you have to be able to invest in your education. I just invested in 2 conferences and a luxury event with, some mentors next month. And it's not because I want to throw away money, but it's because I have to keep on growing ahead of my clients. I need that knowledge to actually pass it on. And so people think that you can start a business and not put any money into it. Yes, you have to do marketing. Yes, you have to pay for logos. Yes, you have to pay for things. There's things you could do by yourself, but you have to at least invest in your knowledge. So that's my number 11, investment.
Absolutely. That's a big one. Yeah. I mean, if I wish we could have, I didn't want to do 20 because then that'd be a 5-hour topic and I'm not trying to be here for 5 hours. But yes, if you can't expect people to invest in you if you haven't invested in yourself.
Right.
That's just a golden rule of business in general. If you haven't invested in, growing yourself, why are you expecting them to invest in the vision that you are trying to put forth?
Especially if you're staying still.
Exactly. So
and I think with that knowledge investment, like that personal growth, when you have a company, when you have a staff, you need to push that knowledge to them as well. Again, it's all about trust with me. They're going to actually see that you can trust them, right? If you're growing, they're going to know that the company is going to grow. And based off the way that I design my company, that means everyone in the company is going to financially grow as well. So again, it's all about trust and all about, like you said, Nina, really, growing yourself and really putting in the time and the investment into yourself.
Right.
Okay. So we're almost through it now. Wait, Jackie. Yes. And you need to encourage them to get their own education. Absolutely. That training. See, we can't, like I said, we couldn't put it all. We actually covered some of this stuff a couple of weeks ago where we talked about creating a winning culture.
Yeah, we did.
And that's part of the environment that we're talking about. Actually, you have to train your people. You have to give them the best information and tools as possible to be able to implement and carry forth the vision that the company has. The thing is, people will train people once and just leave them to the wolves after that. And that is not a growth type of environment. And if people feel like they're constrained or contrived in any way, you lose those people. I've been, and I fortunately talk about all the time that in my businesses, I've only lost, I have a 97% retention ratio. I literally have only lost 3% of the people over 13 years of doing this. So, and through my 7th company now. So it's really about how you treat the people and giving them an opportunity where they can grow within and grow themselves as well at the same time. So,
yeah. And I always, this is a little unorthodox. I always like to bring this up to people. Just hired a couple more research assistants, and I told them immediately, look, I have a system in place that will, provide you the content and information to move all the way up through this company, right? And I'm demanding you to do so. So I make sure that they grow, and if they don't grow, then I don't want you around me. Bottom line, and I don't want to seem rude, but if I'm putting systems and tests in place for you to move forward through the company to provide more income for your family, and you don't want that, then I don't want you around me or my organization. So that's something that I do. I know it's a little unorthodox. Not many people do that, but that's something that I do with my company.
And
I heard, and I never remember who says things, but I remember somebody was saying, don't have anyone on your team that you wouldn't work for. And it was powerful for me because you are putting your brand, your trust in people. And if you don't trust them enough to, if they had something that you weren't working for them, you wouldn't want to work for them. You have to think about how helpful is that going to be for your brand.
Absolutely. Yeah. I want to address some of the comments we got over here. Jackie was saying, you need to, she was the one that actually brought up the point about education. Absolutely. And then Fred one of my favorite guys on this platform. He says, if you are hiring a leadership coach, advisor, or mentor, your first question should always be, what have you led? Where did you lead? Who did you lead? And you'd be surprised how many who advertise themselves as coaches, mentors, advisors can't even answer those basic questions for themselves. And that is so true. We've touched on that many times. People read a book, ready to jump into the pool. I'm a coach now. I read it. I can do it.
Yep.
I'm on fire.
But that goes back to your ICA too, because, you know, I want to already have their business plan, all of that in place. Now, if they're coming to you and they're not at that point, you need to be able to, as a coach, say no. You have to have your ideal client avatar. And if that's not your ideal client, don't do them a disservice by coaching them. If they're not, you know, at a place, if that's not your specialty or you can't help them, don't do it for the money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to get Morgan or Jackie. Jackie, you want to come up? Because Fred can't.
I'm going to leave anyway. I have a blog that's starting in a little bit. So
I know you do, Nina. Thanks for coming out. We love you so much. Y'all give Nina some propers before she leaves.
Great conversation, guys. See you later.
Great.
No more messing with the, you know, the videos with the cats.
Okay.
I want to add to that. I think that's a good point, and that comes in with integrity and just having integrity in what you say and what you do and how you present yourself. Because if you don't have integrity, then you're not going to get very far, and your empire, you know, not going to grow.
Absolutely. And a lot of people miss that fact, you know, of integrity. You know, it's one of the most overlooked things that we do. We have an open seat. Morgan or Jackie, one of you all want to jump up here and add your 10 cents, because I know you all are worth way more than 2 cents, so I'm not going to shortchange any of my friends. You all are a quarter.
But Gerald.
All right. Yes. Wait, we have Evangelos. I've never met this man, so this is awesome. Evangelos. Okay, go ahead, Anthony, while Evangelos is coming from cyberspace.
No, you're good. You're good. We were kind of lagging there. I didn't hear you talking. You're good. I want to meet this guy.
Okay. Evangelos is still coming through cyberspace right now. And there he is. Hey, Evangelos, how are you?
Hey, guys. Nice to meeting you all. It's a great talk. I really enjoy what you've been saying. Absolutely. In my own view, is one-man empire is always weak. So like you say, is you touched early point actually about somebody just reading one book and jumping on the pool. That's an expert or a consultant or name it.
Okay, you broke up there, Evangelos. Why don't you do this? I'm gonna let you out of the seat.
Can you hear me, guys?
No, it broke up really, really bad. Why don't you come out of the seat? I'm gonna let you X you out, and you try to leave the room and come back and refresh, and we'll bring you right back up. Okay. All right. I don't know if he heard me. All right. So anybody else want to jump up and be part of this conversation? I would really love Morgan or Jackie or where's my other girl? Marky's in here. Marky's still here, right? All right, good. I definitely want to hear from Marky too. So we got Morgan coming, and then Jason, if you can jump off for 1 second, we're gonna let Marky in, and then we'll bring you right back.
Can y'all see me?
Yes, there's Mr. Morgan J in the building. Hey, Marky.
All right, cool.
How you doing today?
I am Mac Fantabulous. How are you?
Excellent.
Awesome. So what do you all feel about this topic, the 10 laws of an empire? I mean, we've been going at this for almost an hour. Time is moving so quickly. What are you all's input on this?
Well, when it comes to focus, I believe in being laser beam focused. There's a book out here called The One Thing, and I owned a Keller Williams brokerage before. And with that thought process, I had to take a look, and I actually always earn the most money when I'm focused on one thing. And so when I only sold real estate, I was in the top 10% of realtors in the city of Chicago. When I rehabbed houses, I was rehabbing them suckers overnight and getting them back to the market. But then I thought I could do everything. I'm gonna sell real estate, rehab houses, and teach. and it just wasn't working. So about 2.5 years ago, I decided I would only focus on social media education for realtors. And now my schedule's booked to capacity because I'm focused on one thing. So I think multitasking doesn't work. And what really kills me is when I'm talking to people about multitasking, they say, well, I'm making money at everything, but you don't make the same amount of money from doing everything. And at this point in life, I'm looking at how I'm going to maximize my earning potential per hour. Now, I don't want to work 70 hours a week. I want to make the most money per hour so I can have some spare time on the weekend, if there's such a thing.
There you go. I would even add to that. Those people that want to, if you want to multitask, it's really about the ability of your team that gives you that flexibility. And if a lot of people are solopreneurs in the beginning, and they think that's where they get caught at. They want to do everything, especially if you're by yourself. You really cut your own throat and your own earning potential way down. So if you don't have a team, then you definitely don't want to take on too many tasks, because you end up. That's why people quit, because they become bogged down and overweighted. They stack things on top of themselves. So that is a great point, Mark. Yeah, that was very, very, very true. And we lost Morgan. I don't know what happened, but I guess he'll be right back. But
hey, Gerald, but Warren Buffett, just a fun fact. Warren Buffett stated that the reason of his success, 2 reasons, was focus, right? Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and Bill Gates' father all simultaneously said that focus was the number one key to their success. And then also on that one thing, right? So whatever his one skill that really allowed him to be dominant. He didn't try to jump into so many different markets and start 50,000 different companies. He's had the opportunity to start a lot of different companies, I would imagine, right? But he focused on that one area and he dominated that area, and that's what you see happen. So I love that.
Well, when you look at the billionaires of this world, they all made that money doing one thing at first, and then they invested in multiple companies.
Absolutely.
Now I will say, because I know, Gerald, I know you have 6 or 7,
I have
right?
7. Yeah,
you have 7. I know I'm inspiring to have, my number is ridiculous what I want to have, but I've developed 3. So I think it really lies down to what your value system is, right? Because a lot of people just are excited about creation. That's why I titled my company Creation International. I'm excited about just creating new things. But then again, I definitely have to agree with what you were saying about maximizing the amount of money per hour, right? That was beautifully put. And that's something that I could definitely take away from you, because I'm dabbling in so many different things when honestly, if I just focused on this one, probably could maximize a substantial amount of money. So I love that. I love that.
One of the things I've always said to people I coach is, if you are dating your passion but married to your job, then you're never going to build what you're trying to build. That's the thing. They like to date it. They want to date this, and you're dating 5 and 6 different things. You're not committed to any one thing. And if you are not putting in that dedication, believe me, it will not grow. And that's what I mean. If you're a solopreneur, you can't come in and say, yes, you have great skills. We all have more than one skill that we're good at. And that is a gift. Those are gifts from God. We have abilities, but you can't try to utilize all of them at the same time until you have that team around you that can help you implement those things. Would I have 7 companies if it was just me? Hell no. Excuse my French, y'all, but hell no, because it's insane to try to give yourself to 7 things. You're one person. So if you're giving 15% and 15% and 10%, your results will definitely fall down, because you are not putting forth that energy, because you are not giving the best value, because you're not giving all of you. And people know when they're getting only portions of you. So I believe that that's really key.
You know what? I was born and raised in the restaurant business. I'm a 5th generation entrepreneur, and I was a 3rd generation restaurateur. And one thing, going back to some of the things that you've talked about, my grandfather always told me, he said, Marky, competition is healthy for business. It will make you the best business owner, because people would open up barbecue restaurants and they would come talk to my grandfather And he would show them how to trim meat, make barbecue sauce, tell them where to buy the pit and everything. And I'm like, "Love Daddy, why you telling them everything?" He said, "Girl, it's hard enough on them as it is." He said, "I've had great success because I'm going to look at what they doing and I'm going to up my game so I can stay in the game." And so competition is healthy for business. And we don't realize that. We believe that if we let one little morsel go, we're not going to get it back. So I always believe that you should share.
Yes.
Overshare. I believe in the law of attraction too.
Yes.
So I'm going to give you more than I'm ever going to get from you, because I don't ever want to owe anyone anything, but it puts me on top.
Absolutely. And that's what I talk to people about. I believe I don't even look at people as competition anymore. And to some people that sounds arrogant. It's not that it's an arrogance. It's that you're my colleague. We're in the same industry. There's something I can learn from you, perhaps. And there's a value that we may be able to add to each other. Now, everybody may not be somebody that I want to work with. So therefore, you're a colleague that's just over there doing your thing. But there is value in people that are in the same industry, whereas people want to push them down. Like, no, I can't tell them this. It's my secret sauce. No, you are your own special thing. And that is what carries you through and makes you unique. So I love that you brought that up. That's just beautiful.
Hey, Morgan.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Fine.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm with Gerald. I don't see any competition at all. And I don't think that should be seen as an arrogant thing. I think that you really shouldn't try to compete against anybody. And there's multiple leaders and there's multiple people who say, look, the competition's irrelevant, because if you're too hung up on what the competition's doing, you're not going to focus on what you're doing. And then if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, then you're not going to get far. So it's more so focus on what you have to bring to the table and you bringing that 100% every time. And then your competition may be doing something interesting. You can look into it, but I don't think it should really concern you. I think you should really focus on yourself. And I think the more you focus on yourself, I think it propels you to the place that you're trying to be at. And then your competition kind of like says, oh, maybe we need to get to do something right. I don't know. That's how I see it.
No, I like that. I think it's really, you got to hone in on who you are and what makes you unique and what makes you distinct. And when you do that, then no one else can compete, because you're you, and there's billions of people out there who's going to find, if they're coming with me, they're coming with me. If they're going with you, they're going with you. But there's more than enough people out there, that if you focus on yourself. Now, on the other hand, I would say that focusing on who's doing it the best, modeling is part of life, and you got to find out who's doing it the best, figure out who's setting the benchmark so that you can figure out how you can get up to the benchmarks. But once you reach a certain level, then you can shift and focus fully on yourself and just take it to the next level.
When we talk about the risk and being bold, I think the boldest decision I had to make was changing my sphere of friends. Now, yes. I'm from a community called Inglewood on the south side of Chicago, and I can go there. However, when I looked at the earning potential of my friends I grew up with, I love them. I kick it with them. Yes. I put it on my calendar, but they can't afford the price that I charge. So I had to get me a new sphere that can afford my prices. And the new sphere, I actually need to go up on my price because they're not balking. Would be, girl, how you getting that? I wouldn't pay you that much money. Well, that's because you don't know value when you see it. But it's okay to have those friends. You have to know when you need a new group of friends in order to live the life you want to live.
Absolutely. I would just add to that even, the thing is that it doesn't make them any less of a friend. It's outside of their thinking realm, their own personal growth, the level that they are at right now, currently. They can't see somebody getting paid $15,000 to come and speak for 30 to 40 minutes on stage. They're getting $15,000 over 6-7 months. And they're like, man, please, somebody pay you $15,000 to get on stage. Man, I wouldn't pay you that. Okay. I know you wouldn't. You couldn't. So it's okay. So the thing is that as we grow, like you said, we have to intertwine new circles. One of the favorite things I've ever heard is, if you can't change the people around you, change the people you're around.
I like Roy's quote in there. Don't change your message, change your audience.
Absolutely. I know Morgan got something to say to this because Morgan likes talking about levels, and I saw him light up as soon as you said that. He was like, "Oh."
Guys, this is really in depth. So I know all of you probably have heard of Eric Worre before, and he was going through a speech, and he was talking about levels, and he was talking about how we all progress through certain grades in our life, and so. As multiple people, it doesn't really matter how old you are or where you've been or where you're from. It doesn't really matter. We all have a specific grade that we're in, whether it's 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. And sometimes, let's just use 6th grade, for example. Sometimes all our friends are in the 6th grade and we're in the 6th grade. But then we realize that the desks are too small. The material is not what we like anymore. And we realize we have to graduate and go to the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, the 10th grade. And so while we're graduating those grades, we realize that we leave our friends behind in the 6th grade. And our friends are like, come back to the 6th grade. It's more fun. We got a recess, whatever. It's more fun. It's more lively. And you're like, no, I'm in the 12th grade over here. I can't do anything. I can't do anything right now because I'm in the 12th grade. Like I'm learning more advanced material. I'm with more advanced people. I'm investing into myself. I'm getting better returns. But you want me to come back to the 6th grade? That doesn't really make sense. So that's how I see it when there's a bunch of levels to what you're doing. Like for currently, like I could be like in the 12th grade right now, but my friends can be in the 6th grade. I mean, I can't bring my friends to the 12th grade until they make the decision to graduate. I can't drag them along. So I can be in the 12th grade. I might peep in every time. It might be a show and tell. I might be the special guest, but I'm not going to stay in the 6th grade because I know my value is way more than that. So it's just understanding, I think, that your levels of where you're at, you always are upgrading. You're always like, you see a new group of people, you see a new idea and you jump on it. But sometimes the friends you currently have now may not see that. So you have to be like, oh, well, it's okay. I'm graduating to the next grade. And that's how more so I see it.
Jason?
I like that.
No, I love that metaphor. I think that's awesome. I'm on board. I doubt myself sometimes, just to get real, right? So in my life, when I do that, now sometimes I question myself. I'm like, should I be just kind of going with the flow and leveling up? And then I feel like so that's the other side of it, is that I feel like sometimes I'm not holding anything solid. I'm just constantly leveling up. So what do you guys say to that, I guess?
Yeah, I believe when you are a growth-centered person, then you are constantly leveling up because you understand that you plateau it at a certain level. And if you stay on that plateau too long, you start to go back down. So as growth-centered people, we're always focused on growth. So I would agree there. But before we go deep into that, Gracie had a question. I don't want to miss her question because this thing is moving so quickly. She has a question for Marky, actually. She says, Marky, do you think that any of that you were talking about has to do with race? I was only wondering because I know people can be ignorant in that regard.
Oh, I could talk about the race thing all day long.
I'm going to say no because I see it among other races. I just think that it's more within the African American culture. I hate to say this, but I look at it like crabs in a barrel, right? We lack support from one another. And even if I have 2 sons, they're 11 years apart. One is fair complexion, one is dark complexion. I read a report that my dark complexion son, same household, same mama and daddy, is less likely to be successful due to the complexion of his skin. Now, his name is Austin Ryle, Ryhal. You won't know that he's an African American until you lay eyes on him, because my father-in-law was Caucasian, and most African Americans, Ryle is Rowell. But when they see him, they distinctly look at him and his fair complexion brother a little differently. So do I think that there's some issues we have inside of being African American? Most definitely. And I experience it every single day, always owning Black businesses and Black communities.
Okay, that is a powerful answer, and I believe it's real. I mean, it's here's the thing. When people first meet you, all they see is exterior, which is why I've always asked especially women, like this is a question I ask women that most guys don't. I say, what do you physically find attractive about men? Because women will give you what I like to call a political answer. Well, it's not about their looks, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, but when he's coming across the street, you don't see he's a nice guy. You don't see, oh, he's so sweet and he's going to do this. No, you see, oh my God, here he comes, or oh my God, here he comes. So it's those type of things. And you have to understand the questions that you are being asked to address it properly. So when people do see, I've had people talk on the phone to me and they didn't know that I was African American. They didn't know I was black. I had a guy tell me, say, don't send a black guy to my house. I said, okay, sir. And then at the end of the conversation, after I have them wrapped up and I'm like, okay, well, we're going to be out there tomorrow. I said, and by the way, I am black myself. And he says, well, you must have went to some great school in Georgetown. I said, no, I grew up in Northeast DC in the middle of the hood. I said, but I did not let that define me. And he, because of that conversation, because he hadn't been exposed. See, I didn't take it as him being racist. And I believe that sometimes we are very walk a line about racism. It was that he hadn't been exposed to that type of individual from that type of neighborhood. So you can't blame him for not knowing. So when I did send somebody out to his house, that man spent over $100,000 with my company. So it was just an educational chance for him. Had I been very in my feelings about, oh, he doesn't want this guy, he doesn't want black people. No, it wasn't that. He hadn't been exposed to someone from an inner city that conversed with at the level that I do. So it was eye-opening for him. And now I'm quite sure he invited me to his house, all type of stuff. Yeah, bring your friends, because it was an exposure to something he hadn't been exposed to. And in our community, we almost pigeonhole it a lot, because there is still racism in this country. However, there's also people that just don't know about other cultures, and you have to give them an opportunity before you judge them yourself. I'll just say that.
But that works in both directions, okay?
Absolutely, so, that's what I was saying. Yeah, not just one way.
No, it's not one way, because my family owns an establishment that's been in business since 1952. On the south side of Chicago, I'm considered black royalty. I didn't have to deal with white people under any circumstances unless we were doing business with them. So it's a company called Moore & Oint, Castle & Zoyle, Food and Paper Supply. We are their number one client. So when I'm meeting with them, I'm still being treated like black royalty, because I'm their number one client for food and paper, for ribs, for things of that nature. So when I left the business and came into the real estate business, I realized I don't have any Caucasian friends, because I never had to be friends with Caucasians, because my needs and wants were all taken care of. And then I said, girl, if you want to get where you want to go in this industry, you're going to have friends from all walks of life, and they can't all be black. So I made a strategic decision that I needed to change and have diversity in my friendships, and not just say, oh, I don't have to be their friend because they weren't embracing me. And essentially, I wasn't being embraced, so I didn't do any embracing back, because I had everything I needed.
Right. That was beautifully said. Absolutely. I know you guys, Jason, have stuff to add, because we can go on that topic a long time, because I grew up honestly, though. My father was a truck driver, so I was exposed to all cultures right away. He used to deliver meats for high-end restaurants, so I went in there and I met people. We went in places where I actually saw real racism, which is why I don't take it so personally, and understand some people are just not ignorant of the fact of different cultures, not an ignorant person in general. Now, there are some people that are just nasty and hateful. I can tell those people now, though, because I grew up around it. I went to a bar, and then I'm going to turn it over to Morgan. When I was about 6 years old, I used to love pinball machines. So I'm showing my age a little bit now, talking about pinball before video games. Yeah, we were playing pinball, and we went into a place, and it was completely divided, and I was on the wrong side. I didn't care. I just saw a pinball machine, and they put me up on a chair, and my father walked over there, and it was literally supposed to be for Caucasians only, but they embraced me because of my childlike innocence. So I've seen it. I understand it. It does not have to be a dominant thing in my brain, though, because I understand that we are all human. We all bleed, and we all have our own understanding and our own way that we grew up. So just because you don't understand me initially doesn't mean that you won't understand me in the end. So Jason and Morgan, you guys go ahead.
I think Morgan's muted over there. You back on, Morgan?
Yeah, no, I was talking to someone about my computer, but I'm still here.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that I would add right here that comes to mind, I know that's a deep subject. The one thing I would add is I think that platforms like this give more people, regardless of even race, just inside of cultures, the opportunity to meet people outside of their cultures. There's certain cultures in all races that hold people down and don't want people to grow and don't want people to level up and to get to the next level of the game. And even within communities, you know, I've got different groups of friends who respond differently. Certain groups of friends that I've been in that don't want people to go up, and there's other groups of friends that support people and pull people up and want to contribute and want to help you and all that. So I think just to go to blab for a moment, I think that platforms like this give us the ability to meet people from different ways of looking at things, and then begin to kind of get a wider perspective, like Gerald was saying, where you can meet people from all different races, but all different cultures within different races who have different attitudes about looking at things and different attitudes about people and different attitudes about the world and different attitudes about growth. And you can kind of find your communities that you vibe with, and you can find your communities where you go, hey, you know what, I've outgrown that type of thinking, and that's not for me anymore. So that's my 2 cents.
Definitely. I mean, I see it, you know, it's crazy. Like, you know, as Roy was saying, I see people as a complete package, and I don't see anything behind anyone's race. I never try to qualify any of that. I really would like to know you as a person. If you're a bad person and you're a horrible person, then it doesn't really matter what race you are. You're a horrible person, you're a bad person. That's literally how I see it. You know, I don't ever try to qualify under anything under one race or try to qualify all that. And, you know, even for myself, because I had been doing so much investing in myself, because I've been reading so much, you know, people think that you always have to have, at least from my perspective, at my age, or you think that you have to be like some like rapper or like some DJ or some producer, and you have to act like a thug. And like, if you're not a thug, then to qualify as the white black guy. And it's like, that doesn't make much sense to me, because why? Because I'm spitting out knowledge. Why do I have to be considered on a different sector of a white black guy? Because I'm spitting out certain knowledge, and because I'm actually, you know, more knowledgeable than what's going on, just based on how I grew up and how I carried myself. And so I always see that as a main problem, because a lot of people are afraid to be smart, and a lot of people are afraid to be intelligent, which I feel like that's bad. Like, why are we calling people out who are afraid to be intelligent, and why are we calling people out who are afraid to give out their actual opinion on something real? And so I always personally had a problem with that, because I always try to do stuff like that, and I got all that feedback, but now I really don't care anymore. But it's like, it's more of a thing that I think is a problem, that we try to qualify this, and we always try to say, to put people in certain races, you know, Asians are super smart, or, you know, white people are smart, and then black people aren't as smart. And if one person's smart, they're a black guy, they're a novelty, they're rare. I mean, I don't think we should see it as that. I should see, if someone's giving value, then they give value. Like, it's everyone's decision whether or not they want to invest in themselves or not. And I think that we always try to put that as a race thing. And I think it's just as a person thing, you know, just for me, like if someone's, you know, really attractive and they're a female, fantastic. But if they're dumb, bye. I don't really care. You can be a model. If you're not smart, if you're not intelligent, that's the thing that I look for. And that's what I like to see. Because if you're not intelligent, if you're not giving good values, if you're toxic, if you're negative, I really don't care where your values at. I don't care if you're a celebrity. I don't care who you are. I'm not going to want to associate with you, because you're only bringing negative vibes, and I don't have time for that. So I think sometimes we need to think about people as a full package and understand, what does that person bring to my life? Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, it doesn't really matter. What do they bring to me? And am I allowing them in my circle? And am I allowing myself to conversate with them?
Absolutely. I completely agree with that statement. I mean, and that even goes back to, you know, building an empire. You know, you have to have all types of people with all types of levels of understanding and cultures and everything, if you are really trying to grow yourself to the level of having an empire, because you have to associate. You cannot separate. You have to associate. It's very, 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 very important in business to be able to do those type of things. Now, Marky's up here. This has just been a wonderful, wonderful conversation. let's see. What do you trusted advisors in your business?
Say that again because you cut out for me.
Okay, trusted advisors. What is your take on that? Having trusted advisors around you in your business to build the empire that you're trying to build, because you've had multiple businesses, and that's why it's great, you know. So what is your opinion?
I've always seeked out mentors, and so when I came into real estate, I had a local real estate mentor. And a couple of years ago, I realized that he had taken me as far as he could take me. And so I sat down with him because he had given me so much of himself. I told him what I wanted to do, and I let him tell me. He said, Marky, you need to find another core mentor who can take you to the next level. So we often get one mentor and we stay with that mentor. But when we reach a certain level, you have to now go get you a new mentor to take you to the next level. And it was one of the best things that I've done for myself. And so I specialize in real estate education for licensed real estate professionals, title companies, and banks. With that being said, I now have mentors who've trained on an international level because that would be my next step.
Yes.
But my local mentor can't get me there. He has no idea how that environment works. So I then start just contacting people who I respect and asking them for their time and energy and setting appointments with them so that I could start getting nuggets. But to me, in a mentor position in the world of real estate, it's a little different than a lot of other arenas. People come into real estate and they want you to mentor them for free. Okay.
Yes.
It's the only world that thinks that mentoring is free. So I'm clear to let people know that mentoring in real estate really doesn't work because people coming into the industry expect you to help them get to where they're going, take away your opportunity to increase your income, and they don't want to give you anything in return for that. And I think our industry is the only industry. See, consultants can get paid, coaching can get paid, but they think a mentor is free.
Yes, that's true. I mean, a lot of people do look at mentorship differently than a coach or a trainer or all those other titles, you know. So that is very, very true. Wow, that's powerful. And Roy has some stuff over here. He said nothing was ever accomplished by a single person. That is very true. No man is an island. No woman is an island. We all need other people. So, Jason, you have something to add there?
No, I'm just kind of reflecting on that, what Mark is putting out there about mentorship, because I agree. I think a lot of people assume that, or they want you to mentor them for free. And I'm also thinking about the times when I've reached out to people and I've offered them to be a mentor to help them to get up, and why I've offered that for, you know, why for certain people, what is it about the relationship between someone or where someone is where I would offer that for free. But I definitely understand that I see it 100% that people expect that of people, but they're definitely not willing to give anything in return.
And they don't take action. I don't mind helping you, but when
that's a big
thing. There are two rules I have. I'm not your last minute go-to person. I hate that because as successful entrepreneurs, we have schedules and agendas. And we're planning some of our things out already through next year. So don't call me in the last hour about you need help. No, you should have been on my calendar. That's first and foremost. And then they don't take action. Everything is urgent, but they take zero action. So what I've decided to do is, because people have mentored me for free, when they tell me to do something, I take action, because sometimes the joy is just in the fact that the person has taken the action. As a result, because I'm in real estate education, I see that there are people that have become licensed real estate instructors. I give them my time and energy for free, because at first I looked at them as my competition, and I said, Marky, you don't want to even be on this level. Give them these opportunities, because now it also forces you to push through to the next level. So I believe you need somebody pulling you and pushing you in order to get to where you want to go.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. That I couldn't have said it any better myself. You do. You need somebody that pushes you to want to be better, grow more, do more, be more. So Fitzgerald is here. He says that's the first test. Take action with a small task. No action, no more time invested. Well, we talked about that earlier. I told you I have a performance clause in my contracts now, so it's just that simple. If I'm coaching you and you don't do what you say you're going to do, you get fined. Then you get fined again, and then you get fired. So you're fine, okay, it's fine, now you're fired. So I really don't have time, because in the end, it's our reputations that end up suffering because of someone else's non-action. So I believe that's very vital in doing this type of thing. Well, we're going to wrap this thing up on the record, so we're going to close it out. We can continue the discussion. We're going to close it out off the record now. Thanks for coming to Great O'Clock. We will be back on Monday evening at Great O'Clock.